200 million years ago. The microcontinent was situated near the equator. The Western scientists called it Kazakhstania. The structure with almost full list of elements from the Mendeleev's table inside its depth. What secrets does Kazakhstan soil have? How rich is it? Natural resources are the history of our land for thousands of years. Erosion, an irreversible process that eventually destructs almost all types of metals existing on our planet. Except for these. That is why they were called noble metals. We are talking about gold and silver. They are lustrous, soft, ductile, and at the same time high melting and incredibly resistant to any external effects, including water, air, and even fire. Gold, it's an extremely rare type of metal, and most likely, its use once moved the human civilization to a new level of development and opened a new period, the era of metals. The most ancient traces of using gold by humans were discovered in Bulgaria. In the Varna necropolis, the archaeologists found golden items dating back to 4600 BC. This gold treasure is still considered as the oldest in the world, which means that humans know what gold is for at least 6500 years. In nature, gold can be found in native state or different ores. So, how did it get to the Earth's crust then? How was this rare type of metal, which humans called noble for its durability and distinct shine, formed? According to scientists, gold is the result of numerous volcanic explosions that thrilled our planet millions of years ago. As a result of volcanic and magmatic processes, deposits of minerals including gold were formed. Another question is, was this noble metal born in the Earth's crust? Some scientists think gold is much older than the Earth. Quite possibly, gold and silver are particles of the substance from which the solar system had been formed. 5 or even 10 billion years ago, our planet was born from so-called gas and dust nebula, which consisted of light elements, such as hydrogen and lithium. During billions of years, these light elements had been synthesizing and gradually turning into the other elements. And now we know that the Earth's crust is rich with all elements of the Mendeleev's periodic table, because nature is a sort of big laboratory where permanent synthesis is going on. One element gradually transforms into another one, but these elements are not stable. For example, gold was formed when light metals synthesized into heavy ones. Just imagine that every ounce of gold from which your engagement ring is made of, every gram of silver in the spoon you inherited from your grandmother, all of these can be billions of years old. Anyway, we owe gold-bearing ores to the process in the Earth's crust that moved solutions containing gold up to the surface. And alluvial gold deposits were concentrated by the effects of wind, water and temperature fluctuations. All all of these gradually destructed rocks bearing particles of primary gold that had frozen billions of years ago. The water washed and took it away. Eventually, the gold sedimented in particular places. Pure gold containing no admixtures cannot be found in nature. You will see it only in bank deposits, in the form of gold bars with 4 nines on them. From the ancient times, this metal has been highly appreciated for its chemical resistance. Gold does not oxidize or corrode or enter in reaction with acids, alkali and salts. That is why archaeologists find gold items in the perfect condition, looking the same as they did when being created by the ancient craftsmen.
Первые образцы золота у нас появляются еще в эпоху Бронзового века. То есть считается, что
The first discovered samples of gold dated back to the Bronze Age.
археология встречается, значит,
It is
предмет
known that archaeologists found gold items together with bronze ones in burials and other archaeologically important places.
добывал по-всякому,
It means that humans mined gold nuggets in the first place.
значит,
In jewelry items discovered in gravesite of Begazid-on-Dubai culture, which existed 4,000 years ago, the scientists found different admixtures of other metals.
изделия, которые встречаются за хранение.
According to archaeologists, this noble metal was extracted in the form of nuggets in mines. For example, the scientists found traces of primitive excavation site in central Kazakhstan. Among them are deposits of Meylikuduk, Aynakol, Soorkuduk, Altansu, and Altentube that are generally referred to the period of Begazid-on-Dubai culture.
Есть у нас такие места.
Yes, we have such deposits. For example, Alkay Margulan found such mines in East Kazakhstan. We have special programs, within which our researchers are working with historical sites where people extracted ores in ancient times. Some are located in the south of Kazakhstan. There is a mountain in the northern branch of Karatau where ancient people extracted gold. Ancient tunnel shafts are also found, but unfortunately, they have not been fully studied yet. Many of them are choked, and special program is needed to explore them. But it has been already proved gold was mined there. There were much native gold in the Bronze Age. Gold mining started in central and east Kazakhstan. The Scythians even had gyre-eagles to guard gold as approved by the ancient authors. And it means they were gold miners and skillful craftsmen during the period of Scythian and Saka culture. Kazakhstan was very rich in this regard. Later, the Saka culture was born in the Great Steppe, and gold had taken a special rightful place at those times.
В первую очередь считается, что золото это кусок солнца.
Why did the ancient people think that gold was a piece of the sun in first place? The golden man discovered in his silk organ was a tribal chief. And who is the tribal chief? He is the son of the sun. Let's take the ancient Egypt as an example. Ra, what the sun god. It means there were common understandings in that era, and this is a sacred function. Which god did our ancient people have? It was the sun, our forefather. That's where the fire came from. That's why yellow color was so important. That's how a cult appeared. That's why gold had its magic cult function. It had no corrosion as iron did. It did not oxidize like bronze. It preserved its primeval condition. Archaeologists think that Saka people believed that gold was given by the sun god, and that's why they used it to decorate clothes of their chiefs. Moreover, this metal played an important role in different rituals, including funeral ceremonies. When the Saka people buried very important persons, they decorated their clothes with gold items. Ancient priests believed that metal given by the sun god would protect a person after his or her death.
Золото настолько не имеет сакральной функции и появляется целый
The sacred function of gold was so important that a jewelry making appeared.
образец. Это элемент
Let's take our country's coat of arms.
в гербе имеется. Это золотой
It
человек.
has depiction of the golden man on it,
Нетронутое,
which is a unique discovery.
значит,
The gold items made in those times
изделие
are recognized art masterpieces worldwide.
мирового искусства.
The golden man is exhibited in many countries.
Люди, которые видят
Everybody who sees his clothing,
золотого человека
decorated with animal-style elements, is deeply impressed.
элементами звериного стиля, они, значит, эти люди все восхищаются.
The burial kurgans are also unique grave sites of the ancient Saka people. It is an outstanding archaeological monument which consists of 70 burial complexes. In one of the kurgans, the specialists found graves of royal persons. They were a man and a woman. The bodies were put into a lock of the altar tree, with horses buried nearby. Probably they were meant to ride the dead persons to another world. It's important to mention that horse harness was also richly decorated with gold items. One of the outstanding items found by Kazakhstan archaeologists are two golden discs discovered during excavations at the Saka kurgan in the south of the country near the city of Shymkent. The gravesite is approximately 2,500 years old. Each disc is 7 centimeters in diameter. There are tiny holes close to the edge. According to the scientists, the kurgan was ransacked in the ancient times. However, it seems that treasure hunters did not notice one of the graves, where gold jewelry was found. The archaeologists think that discs were used to cover ice, and no analogues have been yet found in the territory of Kazakhstan. Considering sea patterns, the scientists believe these items were made in the ancient times.
Два диска, которые инкрустированы были двумя вставками из
These two discs are encrusted with two bone inserts.
раковины.
More likely, they are seashells.
Изображены различные морские животные.
Different sea animals are depicted on them.
К чему мы
What conclusions did we make after analyzing these things?
предметов не нашли? Ясно, что,
We have not found any analogues yet.
возможно, Индийский океан.
Obviously, these items were brought from abroad,
Или же
maybe from coastal areas of the Indian Ocean or Pacific Ocean.
изучаем и пока,
We are studying this question to find out the origin of these findings.
пока нету.
They are unique,
Я думаю, в
and
ближайшее
there are no analogues.
откуда
I think that we will find the answer very soon.
произошли.
The quality of jewelry items made by the Saka people impresses even the modern craftsmen. The nomads of those times already knew the method of pouring liquid gold into molds. The impressive thing is that in the 8th century BC, the nomads were aware of microsoldering technique. They used magnifying glass and could separate gold from the admixtures. After casting, the ancient craftsmen forged gold and finished items by using special devices. More complicated technologies appeared, including mold casting, stamping, and weaving with thin gold threads.
У нас загадка, допустим, как обрабатывали вот еще вот многие
How did Saka craftsmen make gold items?
спайки и так
It's a
далее.
secret for us. There are more questions than answers.
Технологи
How
работают,
did it happen?
много вопросов.
For example, 2,500 years ago, there were no technologies like we have now,
Отсутствие
but they already had filigree,
технологии
a thin filigree.
филигранью.
They also soldered different metals, and we do have questions about that.
И в этом отношении еще у нас мы есть,
But we know that craftsmen living in those times possessed unique skills,
обладали уникальным
and one of the vivid examples to prove that is clothing of the golden man.
ярким примером вот именно одежда золотого человека.
Considering such large area of the Saka culture expansions, there are two main questions. From where did these tribes have so much gold, and how did they mine it? According to scientists, 3,000 years ago, the Kazakh land was richer with mineral resources than it is now. There were a lot of gold. The nuggets of this noble metal were almost at the surface, and the rivers were also rich with gold gravels.
Европейские народы писали в своих источниках, как добывались.
The people of old continent, as well as European peoples, wrote in their sources about the Saka tribes that mined gold.
Казахские племена как бы смывали золото.
There were legends about the Saka people living in the downstream region of the Sirdarya river, who washed gold from the sand using sheepskin.
Шкуры, овчьи шкуры, они смывали через него.
This method of gold mining was described by the ancient Greek historian and geographist Strabo. As he wrote, it is said that in their country gold is carried down by the mountain torrents, and the barbarians obtain it by means of perforated troughs and fleecy skins, and that this is the origin of the myth of the Golden Fleece. Based on these records, we understand that the Golden Fleece is not some fiction created by ancient Greeks, but historical chronicles about the very first geologists living in the territory of Caucasus, Middle Asia and Kazakhstan. Today in Kazakhstan the most popular method is hard rock mining, although it is extremely difficult and labor-consuming. The reason is there are few placer deposits, and humanity has nothing to do but go deeply into the Earth's crust. Gold is often concentrated in quartz. In addition to hard rock mining, this yellow-colored noble metal is extracted as a byproduct when mining copper, for example.
Сначала мы получаем золотой шлам с электрозного отделения.
Firstly, we obtain gold sludge, which is black as soot. Then we clean it by leaching, using salt solution. The metals we don't need, such as copper, nickel and others, are separated and only gold remains. Then, after several complicated chemical processes in the refinery, the specialists get gold dust, which will be then cast and poured into baths. This is a pure gold with 4 nines. Soon this bar will go to the National Bank of Kazakhstan, adding to the country's gold reserves. Another type of noble metal, widely spread in the bowels of Kazakhstan, is silver. It is a faithful companion of gold. They complement each other like day and night, the sun and the moon. This is a rare element. Its content in the Earth's crust is almost 100 times less than that of gold. This is a beautiful metal, which has been popular since the ancient times. Archaeologists found items made of silver across Kazakhstan. The first findings were over 4,000 years old.
Древние насельники Казахстана начали использовать.
The ancient tribes living in Kazakhstan's territory during the Bronze Age used silver in everyday life and various types of decoration.
быту.
What types of decoration it was? Horse harness and clothing.
Это что? Это
As for everyday life, they made household utensils.
а в быту это кухонная утварь.
This metal was especially honored among the nomads. For steppe people, silver was not just a decorative element used in everyday life and clothing. It had a protective function. Its bactericidal properties helped nomads in their hard life and faraway traveling.
Антисептикалық қасиеті бар дегенде күмісті суға салып пайдалануды қазақтар ертеден білген. Судың өзінде
From the ancient times, Kazakh people knew the antiseptic properties of silver.
содан кейін денсаулыққа
They put silver things in water and bathed.
заманнан білгендіктен
They knew that silver had positive effect on water, and therefore it's good for a human. They used silverware and silver bowl to give drink to their children. They had it all in their practice. While cooking, The women always put silver rings and bracelets on their hands. They believed that food prepared with hands wearing silver items was very clean.
Тамақ адал болады деп есептеледі.
In Kazakhstan, silver reserves are explored in over 100 deposits, and the majority of them are polymetallic deposits. The average ore grade varies between 40 and 100 grams per ton. Silver is often found in such minerals as electrum, argentine, frustite, fluorite, and chalcopyrite.
У нас вот как серебро, так и золото выгодно.
Kazakhstan has favorable conditions for silver and gold mining. We extract them as byproducts from the mining of other metals. For example, Rudny Altai is well known as the region of noble metals, but lead, copper, and zinc are mainly mined there, while gold and silver are extracted as byproducts. When we talk about deposits of color metals, we should understand that they also have gold and silver that will be mined as byproducts. And when considering benefits from extracting main metals, as copper for example, we will also win as we receive gold and silver as byproducts from its mining. Yes, in Kazakhstan, silver is a byproduct, which means benefits from its extraction. Just think of it. We do not spend money for development of silver deposits. We do not build separate enrichment facilities. Maybe you'll be surprised, but literally, this noble metal is extracted from the wastes that we get when producing copper, zinc, or lead. These wastes are called sludge, which is a powdery substance containing noble metals. They are separated during the electrolysis of copper and other metals. Gold and silver measure material values and challenge the human soul. In all times they made people perform feats or betray. Precious metals are the key to prosperity for any state. Many times they had determined fate of entire peoples, causing death to the cities or birth to civilizations.